Dave Vilwalk is hot off a win at the last Unlimited event in Seattle. He won here in San Diego in his rookie season as a driver 2 years ago for owner Ron Jones. While his current boat has speed and performance, it lacks the clout of major backing, making Vilwalk somewhat of an underdog. But if he can make 2 wins in a row on the Unlimited hydroplane circuit, you might say he'd be living and driving the American dream.
American dream.
ESPN Speed World presents the 1994 Unlimited Hydroplane Series 7th stop, Bayfair 94 on Mission Bay in San Diego.
The fastest race course on the circuit, the first saltwater event of 1994, a 2.5-mile oval here on Mission Bay. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Hendrick. You know, strange things have happened here in San Diego in the past. Mike Hansen last year was the trailer boat with the Madison Racing Team. He came from behind, he won it. Our top qualifier this weekend, Dave Vilwalk, won his rookie race here. And there just might be more important things going on than just winning today's race. And for that story, here's Dick Crippen.
Jim, I think the big battle is going to be in the points race. The Eagles Snacks O'Doul's High Point Championship will be finally decided in Honolulu. But this race today sees the 2 lead boats only 66 points apart. Mark Tate will be driving Steve Wimmer's Smokin' Joe's right behind me. That boat trails the Miss Budweiser, also known as the Red Rocket, with Chip Hanauer at the wheel by only 66 points. So it's going to be fast and furious right off the bat. These 2 guys wanted to draw each other early so one could set the other at bay, possibly for the rest of the day. They did draw each other early. Heat 1A is going to see an unusual circumstance. In lane number 1, it is going to be the High Points leader, Chip Hanauer, in the Miss Budweiser. Lane number 3 is going to be second place in High Points, Mark Tate in the Smokin' Joe's. And they're going to race on one of the fastest courses on the race circuit, and a course that has another unique condition that may affect today's racing. With that, here's Steve Montgomery.
Well, Dick, for hydroplane racers, saltwater is good news and bad news. It makes the boat more buoyant. It comes up out of the corner more quickly, increases the speed. Also, the propeller is more efficient. We usually see our fastest speeds of the year here on Mission Bay. The bad news, a gallon of this stuff can trash a $40,000 turbine engine. But most of the drivers tell us they really like this race course.
Oh, it's a great race course. You know, it's a super speedway of all the race courses that we have, and the water just dissipates really well and lays down lap after lap. And you can just, even in racing conditions, you can run the boat here faster and harder than any other race course we have.
It's the best race course, I think, on the circuit, and I love it because the water's good, it's warm, it's beautiful, and if worse comes to worse, you're still in San Diego.
Well, I used to not like it at all. I didn't have much luck down here. It's the old saltwater scenario, but Exide team's come up with a good combination as far as our filter system and the intake for the engine, and we came up with a fabulous prop gearbox combination. We ran one of the highest speeds I've ever run and the boat's ever run, so now we love the course here, so we're having fun. San Diego.
This race course is one of the more fun ones. Number 1, it's our first chance at saltwater, which is obviously faster, as you're seeing with the times. But it's difficult. I mean, being a new team, it's difficult for us to get through the learning process on salt. But it's a nice long course, 2.5 miles, nice wide turn, so it's fairly fast. So it's a fun course. It's an interesting course to work at.
It's a great race course. I like it. It's big, fast. I prefer the smaller, tighter corners with the weird back chutes and the weird corners because I can drive them. This thing is pretty much the fastest boat's going to do real well as long as he can stay clean. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with a let it all hang out type race course, and that's what this kind of race course is. Let it all hang out.
Yeah, definitely. We've had some good speeds here the last couple of days, and the saltwater generally works in our favor.
It's beautiful. I think it's safe. It's got gentle shorelines, so the waves dissipate, the wakes dissipate, and I'd say it's the top 1 or 2 that we have.
One thing the drivers are very aware of here on the Mission Bay race course is a spot on the back straightaway where the air off the Pacific Ocean comes under the Fisherman's Channel Bridge, creating a Venturi effect right in the high-speed section of the straightaway. This has created some of the most exciting, most disastrous action in the history of unlimited hydroplane racing.
Now, this is the next to the last event, and it features the closest points battle that we've had all year. Just 66 points separating the Miss Budweiser and the Smokin' Joes. As we mentioned, that is definitely one of the stories we'll be following today. The strategies will be either to go all out and go for the win or run conservative and don't make any mistakes. It's Mark Tate and Smokin' Joes heads for his warm-up laps. Let's go down to Steve Montgomery in the Bud Pit.
Guys, just before the start of Heat 1A, here's some frantic activity in the Budweiser camp. The test run this morning convinced the team that their setup was a little too conservative. And what we see here, larger air traps being attached to Miss Budweiser. They have decided they have to run a little faster and looser. Chip Hanauer will not get a chance to test this setup now until he's actually on the water in competition.
We're getting ready now for the start of Heat 1A here in San Diego. A good time to remind you that Unlimited Hydroplane Racing at Bayfair 94 is sponsored by O'Doul's, what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer. And by Eagle Snacks for the crunch you crave. The Miss Budweiser's going into the water. She leads in the points battle. Chip Hanauer knows it as he gets on board. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to San Diego, California. This is the Bill Muncie Memorial. The course itself is named after this, probably the most famous hydroplane racer ever. He was very responsible for bringing the big boats to San Diego. Let's take a look as the boats complete their warm-up at the lineup for the first race today. Jim?
And it'll be Miss Budweiser, driven by Chip Hanauer. He'll be in lane number 1. The owner is Bernie Little. In lane number 2, it will be the Miss Exide, driven by the popular Mark Evans. Lane 3 will see Mark Tate and Smokin' Joes. They're challenging for the Budweiser for the High Point Championship. They'll be in lane number 3. In lane 4, Nate Brown, second High Points as a driver. He'll drive the Tide. The Spirit of Lake Chelan, or the Cooper's Express if you prefer, driven by Mitch Evans on the outside.
They come down to the start line, and there they go, the start of Heat 1A. Now remember the points battle. It's the closest it's been all season long, but it is the Miss Budweiser in lane number 1. Smokin' Joes has taken the lead in lane number 3, right on his outside. Nate Brown in the Tide boat. It's going to be a three-way lockup as they come out of the second corner. As they head down that back stretch, all three boats are even Steven.
It's Budweiser, lane 1, lane 2, Smokin' Joes, and look at him come on strong. Mark Tate driving, and on his hip is our third place boat, the Tide, and look at the Exide here in fourth place, taking on some water. Look at him fight that wheel, Dick. He's giving it a real battle, and now he is completely in somebody's roots tail. Visibility goes to 0 as we come back to our leader.
And the lead is the Smokin' Joes boat, driven by Mark Tate on the outside. Again, the Tide boat is challenging. Mark Tate seems to be losing power. Meanwhile, the Tide is coming on, and the Tide is going to take the lead as they pass our camera position.
Nate Brown shows the way around the course as he takes the turn down to corner number 4. And he's coming around the lead, the Budweiser. Now, here's the interesting point, Dick. This boat down was trailing 66 points behind the Bud. Wherever Bud finishes now, he's going to pick up those free points in the high point chase.
And the Bud gets a little bit light as she comes around the turn, but my bet is that Chip Hanauer will just see what kind of power the Tide has. He doesn't really have to risk his equipment out there at all, but the Tide boat, let's not take away from Nate Brown. He is doing a terrific job. Look at the balance he's got on there, 157 miles per hour. That's why they say this is one of the fastest courses on the entire circuit, and it is a saltwater course.
A saltwater course, 2.5 mile circumference, gives him a little longer chute. And look at the Tide maintain his lead over the Miss Budweiser, riding in second place as we look inside the Budweiser and get the view of Chip Hanauer and trying to catch the Tide.
I think at this point, Chip Hanauer is going to be very happy to take a second place, take the free points you referred to earlier, Jim. Meanwhile, Nate Brown, his crew with the Tide, they're going to get a tremendous boost off of this. Bill Worcester and the entire group has done a great job with this boat, and it certainly is proving itself worthwhile here in San Diego in this first heat, Heat 1A. Look at how he's just kind of tiptoeing down across the water. That's the way you want these boats to ride. Miss Budweiser just keeping the pressure on. If something should happen, Chip Hanauer would move right up in there. There's a great shot of how those boats go.
As we look at our second place boat, the Miss Budweiser, the Miss Exide is currently in third. Lake Chelan is in fourth, and Smokin' Joe, as we said, is out of the race. And look at the tide bounce through that slop, heading toward the checkered flag.
A little bit of a problem there as he came through. He took a little water over the front end of the boat, but it didn't slow him down at all. There's the checkered flag. Nate Brown, a big win, a great way to start the day in San Diego for the Tide team. Budweiser will be coming in second place. That doesn't matter. He's going to take his points over this boat, the Smokin' Joe's. And boy, I guarantee you that pit is going to be one very busy place when that boat gets back in. We've got a long day of racing yet to go. And here are the first points out of Heat 1A. The Tide taking the max at 400, followed by the Miss Budweiser, Miss Exide, Lake Chelan. Smokin' Joe's did not finish.
One wild ride going on there in that first couple of laps.
Yeah, you want to take it for a spin?
No, I think I'll stick to announcing.
Well, you ought to take it for a spin, really. But no, it was a great time, and my hat's off to the crew yesterday. We didn't have the best of days, and we had kind of a little morale boost thing this morning. And I tell you, the guys did a great job getting it together. And this man right over here, Danny High, the crew chief, he's the guy that never says never give up, and I never gave up. And this guy here, the owner. But I'll tell you what, honestly, there's a lot more racing today, and this is one of the heats, so it helped, but it's not over yet, guys.
Steve?
Good news, bad news. You couldn't catch Nate, but you pick up points on Mark Tate.
Yeah, luck. You know, he had some problems. We certainly weren't fast, so this time the luck was with us.
How about the changes you made right before the heat? Go the right direction?
Well, nothing seems to be working. We just don't seem to have the speed.
You still got 2 heats and a final.
Yeah, we'll keep trying.
Lots more racing to go, that's for sure. You've already had a taste of some pretty good action out on the course. Now, if you'd like to get more information on unlimited hydroplane racing, you can call the number on your screen or write to the address. Members receive the media guide, results from every event, and lots of other goodies. So call or write today. Join with us with unlimited hydroplane racing. Let's go back to Steve Montgomery. Steve?
Smokin' Joe's just arriving back here in the pit area. Steve Woomer, do we know what happened?
Well, Mark's first indications he wired in is that the throttle just went away. Evidently something broke in the throttle system as the boat was still running. So unfortunate break, and now we're playing catch-up today.
Not the way you wanted the day to start, but you do get another shot at that red boat.
Well, yeah, we've got a couple more shots coming up, I hope. You know, the thing is now every boat finished out there but us and that, and we need the points to get on that front row in the final.
And coming in 66 points behind, they now trail by 366. Heat 1B is next. We'll be back.
Welcome back to San Diego, California. You're looking at a boat on Mission Bay, one of the very beautiful courses. This is Ken Muscatel. And this boat has had some problems coming into this race today, and it looks like he's losing power again.
The rest of the fleet warming up for the drop of the starting flag. As we look at the lineups, Dave Billwalk in lane 1 of Pico's American Dream. He'll be challenged on lane 2 by Steve David in the Miss T Plus engine treatment. Pete Swickadale with Ken Muscatel back to the pits. I don't know if she's going to start. Mike Jones is scheduled in lane 4 in the International News.
Right now, it looks like it's going to be a 2-boat race between the American Dream and the T Plus. There's the start of the race, and it is just 2 boats taking the starting flag. So we've got a drag race. Interestingly enough, the fastest qualifier coming into this race was the Pico's American Dream, Dave Billwalk. He's the blue boat on the inside. He's got a slight lead over the yellow and black boat out of Seattle, Washington, known as T Plus. Great shot of what Steve David is seeing as he pilots that boat in second place.
A smooth saltwater course. Look at those rooster tails rise. Close to 200 mile an hour in the straightaway here on Mission Bay, and we're looking at the stalled International News. That's why she didn't start. We heard they had some ignition problems. Also, you can see Ken Muscatel trying to get Pete Swickadale back up on plane for a late start, but I don't think he's going to make it. As we look at our leader and our second place boat coming right at you, Dick.
155 miles an hour and 149 miles per hour. And it's interesting because the second place boat was actually going faster, but you know, he's on the outside. And again, that's that business about the shorter course to the inside boat. And certainly at this point, Dave Billwalk is taking full advantage of all of that. Every ounce of water that he can get, every push he can get off of that big prop that powers these boats forward. He is coming in view of the checkered flag right now. Dave Billwalk, I'm sure, is smiling ear to ear, as is his crew. Pico's American Dream takes the win in Heat 1B. Second place will go to the T-Plus boat driven by Steve David out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. A good run for Dave Villwock. Sad news for Ken Muscatel, who did his best to get that boat running.
And likewise, Mike Jones in International News had his problems. He did not start. As our winner, Dave Villwock and Pico's American Dream comes off the boat onto the docks. Let's go to the other end and Steve.
Kenny, can you throw that over the wing?
You beat everybody but that one guy in the red, white, and blue boat.
Dave's running real well. His top qualifier. We were glad to run where we did with him. The T-Plus is just trying to kind of find out what combination we need for the final. That gave us a good indication that we're not that far off from our first gas.
You're liking the boat ride?
Yeah, the boat's running wonderful. It feels almost as good as it did when we set all the records last year in Hawaii. So I think we're just going to progressively cheat, and the final ought to be a real awesome race.
As we look down at the pits now, we can see out on the course the International News waiting for a tow. That's Mike Jones. He'll try to get that boat running before the day is over. Let's go back to Steve.
If there is such a thing as an easy 400 points, that may have been it.
I don't think that exists out here. We saw what happened the first heat with the Budweiser and Mark Tate duking it out, Tate going dead, then Tide coming on from the outside. Great boat race. Anything can happen, and we had a couple of great boats in that heat with the T-Plus, and the Bonds presents Pico's American Dream.
You're fast and loose here at the entrance pin, but that seems to be the way you want it.
Well, I enjoy driving the boat there. It's the boat runs well, it handles well, and we're just trying to keep it over the top of the rough stuff.
Plenty of competition yet to go here in San Diego. We'll be back to it in just a moment. A beautiful shot of downtown San Diego, California across Mission Bay, which happens to be a saltwater course. That's the subject of our Eagle Snacks Performance Corner today with Ron Brown of the Miss Budweiser explaining how to prepare for it.
San Diego, being the first saltwater event of this season, some preparations have to be made for these turbine boats to run in saltwater. Normally, this is the air intake for the Miss Budweiser in freshwater. Because these boats are very hard to get on plane and a lot of spray has come forward, we extend our inlet forward so that it gets in front of where the spray may come, therefore not ingesting salt water into the engine of the Miss Budweiser. The second stage of our saltwater system is this deflector door. It has two purposes. It fills in this area, creating more lift, making it easier for the boat to plane off. Secondly, it deflects any water or spray that may get blown up into the inlet of the Miss Budweiser. As Chip leaves the pits, he pulls a handle, retracting the door, thus eliminating the lift. At this point, he's already up on plane, up and rolling. The third, but most important part of our system is this filter. It covers the engine, not letting any of the saltwater mist go into the inlet. Why do we go through this extensive saltwater process? It's to ensure that the power turbine wheels, such as this, that are running red hot, do not get salt crystallization, which would cause major damage to these turbine engines.
As we start Heat 2A, Bonds presents Pico's American Dream, Dave Villwock in Lane 1. And Lane 2 of the Tide with Nate Brown. Lane 3, Steve David, the T-Plus. Pete Zwickadale, Ken Muscatel on the outside. And International News, Mike Jones, they have not made an appearance.
Now it's interesting because both Dave Villwock and Nate Brown have won here today, and they're going up against each other. And lane number 1, the blue boat, is the American Dream. There's the start of the race, and right off the bat, it looks like Steve David was going to try to get himself a piece of that lead, and he leads as they come down. Here comes the American Dream on the inside. Look at those boats as they go tight into the turn. Pete Zwickadale has now fallen back to 4th place, but he is just barely off the leaders. Steve David on the outside. This gives you a great shot. You can't even see the lead boat off to his left. That's where he is. Steve David right now is running in 3rd place. He's trying to move himself up. He's just now starting to move past the Tide. But again, Nate Brown powers on. Still your leader is Dave Villwock in Pico's American Dream.
And he's over 150 mile an hour on here, lap number 1. As he comes down off of corner number 4, this is a 3-lap sprint on saltwater here in Mission Bay, San Diego, California.
No question that Dave Villwock wants to serve notice to everybody on the course. Again, you look now, you can see the difference in the picture that Steve David is seeing in front of the T-Plus. He's got a rooster tail way out in front of him, and that's the rooster tail off of the American Dream. There's David as he comes out of the turn. He is now in 2nd place. Back in 3rd is Nate Brown. Remember, it was Nate Brown and Dave Villwock, the leader of this race, who won the earlier heats today.
Well, it's about 6 miles an hour behind the leader as the American Dream 153.7, as you saw, the T Plus 147.7. That's about 6 miles an hour slower, but he's riding a solid second place behind this boat, the leader, Pico's American Dream, Dave Villwalk.
Interesting to watch Dave Villwalk as he handles that boat. He seems to be rough on it, but in reality, he can just about handle it with fingertips on the straightaway. The strain comes as that boat hits the resistance in the turn. There's a great shot of the tide. You can see how that big skid fin is getting ready to dig into the water. Again, your lead boat, Dave Villwalk in the American Dream. Now he's starting to look for that checkered flag. This would be his second consecutive win out here on Mission Bay today. What a great way to go into this day.
Points are important for Nate Brown here because in the High Point Driver Championship, he is second place, and you would like to maintain that as we look at our second place boat in this particular heat with a half a lap to go. The checker flag is waiting for Dave Villwalk, the winner of our last event in Seattle on Lake Washington.
So it could be 2 consecutive heat wins here in San Diego today, and who knows, by the end of the day, it could be 2 consecutive championships for the man driving this boat. Bonds presents Pico's American Dream, Dave Villwalk. He takes the checkered flag. He comes home the winner. Steve David is in second place in the T Plus, followed by Nate Brown in the Tide. A great run for those boats.
And Pete's Wicked Ale picks up on fourth place, while the International News, Mike Jones, for the second straight time, did not start.
So Dave Villwalk in the American Dream, as he's waved back into the pit area, has a second consecutive win out here today. We'll see if he can go for more when we return in just a moment. Welcome back to San Diego. Dick Trippett along with Steve Montgomery and Jim Hendrick as we look at the X-Side going out on the course for the start of Heat 2B. And it should be good competition, Jim.
It'll be Miss Budweiser, Chip Hanauer in lane 1. The X-Side, Mark Evans in lane 2. Smokin' Joe's in lane 3 with Mark Tate behind the wheel. And Mitch Evans on the outside in the spirit of Lake Chelan as they come around for the start.
And Jim, we've pointed out that the Miss Budweiser and the Smokin' Joe's always seem to just run championship heats against each other. This is the first time as we start Heat 2B that they've been running in heats together, and that's going to be very important in the overall strategy today. Right now, Smokin' Joe's and the Miss Budweiser battling as they go down into the first turn.
As they go in the first turn, it is a 366-point lead for the Budweiser over Smokin' Joe's, and this is the battle. We're next to the last race of the year. Next stop is the Outrigger Hotel Hydrofest in Honolulu, but look, the Budweiser coming down the back chute is pulling a little bit, but Smokin' Joe's is coming on strong again.
And interesting to note that we always talk about how the boat on the inside of the course always has the shorter course to run. When the power is on in a boat like Smokin' Joe's, look at him lead the Miss Budweiser into the turn. Now, the idea there is to have the higher speed, and he almost got too much height there because he started to fly the boat. Had to back off it just a little bit, but it looks like he held on just enough to tie up the Miss Budweiser as they come back down onto the front straight again. Miss Budweiser, Chip Hanauer, trying not to blow his equipment, just trying to hold off the Smokin' Joe's at this point, and that's a problem because Smokin' Joe's keeps creeping up in there. Mark Tate out of Michigan doing a great job at driving, really putting the boat out to the edge.
Oh, look at the fine turn that Hanauer just made. Just almost clipped the buoy, but stayed inside tight. And out of his rooster tail in second place, and down the chute, the challenge again comes Mark Tate from Wayne, Michigan, near Detroit, in Steve Woomer's Smokin' Joe.
Some of the other boats that are trying to hold up in there, the Miss X-Side now running back in third place. There's 156 miles per hour for the Miss Budweiser as she goes in and out of the lead. Incidentally, the spirit of Lake Chelan, Mitch Evans, back in fourth place as they run on the course. Your leader doing a great job, and as you mentioned before, he is, as they like to say, pinning the buoys. He's literally coming right around on the buoy line, and he jumped out of the water, flew a couple of feet, and came back down, and that can be dangerous, Jim, because the torque on that engine is such that it'll spin the prop. It'll literally blow the engine.
We're on the last lap of 3, and there's only 2 mile an hour separating the first place boat. Here's Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser, followed by Mark Tate in the Smokin' Joe. As they come down now the back chute for the last time, And you can just see that Smokin' Joe shoot out there. He's trying to keep his RPMs up. But meanwhile, the short way around the course is Hanauer's boat.
And you can almost hear Steve Woomer, the owner of this boat, the Smokin' Joe's, yelling from the dock to just get a little more power. Mark Tate trying to find it as they come down for the finish line. Everybody is on their feet. They are yelling for the respective boat that they want to see win it. They take the final turn on this course. Miss Budweiser now, Chip Hanauer looking to see if he sees that checkered flag. And I guarantee you, he's going to be very happy to see it finally fly. He's got himself enough of a margin to take the win if the engine just holds together. This has been a battle that he has had to earn. Chip Hanauer, there you see the distance. He takes the checkered flag. A great finish for the Miss Budweiser. And again, another point total for the Miss Budweiser because Smokin' Joe's had problems in the first heat and didn't get the points.
Well, 100 points more now. That's the difference. It's 400 points for first, 300 for second. So Budweiser's lead now is up to 466 points. And there's the lineup, the way they finished with the X-Side third, Lake Chelan fourth. That's the Mitch and Mark Evans brothers battle for those last two positions. Let's go down to the winner's dock, and here's Steve Montgomery.
Better boat rides for both you and Mark that time.
Yeah, the first heat we found out was a URC valve that went bad, so it vindicates my guys, and it really upsets me. You know, we trust that the governor and the valve they give us is accurate, and it wasn't. It was way off. So, my guys did their job. The URC just handicapped us.
Got to feel better about the rest of the day now, though.
Yeah, it hurts to lose, that first heat. That could, hurt us a lot in the final, but, we have to deal with what we have, and we'll just keep going.
U7.
All right, they're drawing for the lanes now as we get ready for our final set of heats.
Heat 3B. U10, Smokin' Joe.
And here's a guy that won from the trailer position here at San Diego, Mike Hansen, this year lending a hand on the Miss X side. We're back in a moment. Back in San Diego, California, we're getting ready for Heat 3A. The boats are already on the course, getting their warm-ups in. Let's take a look at the lineup, Jim.
All right, lane one will be this boat, the Miss Budweiser, with Chip Hanauer. Lane two, Nate Brown in the Tide. Mitch Evans in the third slot in the Lake Chelan. Pete Zwickendale, Ken Muscatel in lane four. On the outside, Mike Jones in International News. But there's a report coming now that the Pete Zwickendale, with Ken Muscatel out of the cockpit, is starting to sink. He's going to need a tow. The boats are continuing to warm up. Let's go down to the Tide dock and Steve Montgomery.
Bill, it looked like you proved you could go fast in 1A and then backed it off a little.
That's right. We went out and we wanted to run the boat hard on the first heat and see what we could do. The second heat, we came in with a little problem with the shaft log. We did the repair job. It all worked out well, and we did what we wanted to do in the second. And third heat here, we're going to do what we have to do to get in the final. The final heat, we're going to give it everything we've got, and I think that we've got a lot. We came down here to win. We're going to give it our best shot.
The boats are now coming down for the flag to say go, and there it is. The boats are off and running on the outside. It's the white boat, the International News, on the inside. Miss Budweiser, Chip Hanauer, seems to be dominating the fleet, but he's got a problem. We just talked to the owner of the Tide. He said they wanted to try to get up into position on this one, and that's exactly where Nate Brown is right now. Brown is driving hard. He bounces a little bit, porpoises the boat as he comes out of the turn, but he's right on the tail of the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer, looking in that little rear view mirror that he has on the side of the boat, has got to know that boat is filling the mirror and therefore right on him.
Well, you can see the Budweiser with about a 4-boat length lead, but you can see Nate Brown coming up quickly now. He's not going to give up in the Tide on this Saltwater 2.5-mile course in San Diego, California. Looking to whip through that slop in second place. Watch now. You see the Tide just come whipping out as the Budweiser comes around to complete lap number one.
Now, as you remember, Ken Muscatel had problems a little earlier on. We've got Steve Montgomery with Ken down in the pit area. Steve?
One of those days or at least one of those heats?
Yeah, things are pretty bad right now.
What happened that time?
I don't know. It just the sponsor's full of water, and I started out and it began sinking the boat, so I tried to trick it to get up on this plane, and it just couldn't do it.
It's always something.
Yeah, that's for darn sure.
As they come out of the last turn to end up lap number two, it is still Miss Budweiser being chased by the Tide on the Saltwater course.
153 miles an hour for Miss Budweiser, 155 for the outside boat. Nate Brown, again, we're seeing where the outside boat has got to work a little bit harder. They are even coming down there. Tide a little
jump in on the light side. Watch them as they pin the turn. Look at how the Miss Budweiser takes a little bit of a bounce, but doesn't lose any ground to the outside. Chip Hanauer has great control of that boat, but look at the boat on the outside. Nate Brown in the orange and white Tide boat is doing a great job of handling. He's really got that boat under control.
He's doing one heck of a job, and look, and he's passing the Budweiser. With the checkered flag in sight, the Tide has just passed the Bud on the final turn. This is the last turn before the completion of this heat.
He has done a great job. I'll tell you, the crew has really worked on that boat. Now, here comes the Miss Budweiser again, taking advantage of the inside, and he bounces it hard, but holds onto the stick. Let's see now if the Tide has enough power on the straightaway to catch the Miss Budweiser. It is still the Miss Budweiser, and Chip Hanauer, by about a quarter of a boat length, takes the win over the Tide. But I'll tell you, I think Bill Worcester and the entire crew has got to feel great. Here's your results. Miss Budweiser first, followed by the Tide. International News is third, followed by Lake Chelan, and Pete's Wicked Ale did not start. Let's go down to the pits.
That was kind of exciting.
Yeah, real close. They're running great. I think they have the fastest lap of the day, so they're going to be tough.
With about half a lap to go, he did have the lead going toward the final turn.
Yeah, with more than that, with a lap to go, he had the lead right up until the last straightaway. So, yeah, they're running great.
But you, of course, will probably pick lane number 1 for the final?
Well, I don't think we'll have that option because Vilwak has more points than we do, so he'll probably be his. So we'll probably be in 2.
Let's go to the Tide dock right now, and Steve Montgomery.
Nate, as you were getting ready to run, your owner was telling us you were going to run conservative. That didn't look very conservative.
Well, it was. We came in second. If we would have run hard, we'd have got first. No. I mean, I honestly messed up that final corner. I was going into into that back chute there, and without the wing, the boat tends to it gets tripped up, you know, going into that final corner, and I kind of planted the right spots a little too hard, and it kind of got away from me, and Chip held a beautiful lane inside there. But it was good, clean boat racing, and Chip won by about a half a boat length, I guess, something like that. So hopefully we'll get a decent lane choice in the final, and the Tide can come out on top.
Why are you running without the wing?
To get any advantage we can. We're down a little bit on speed with the wing situation because of our gear ratio and propeller combination. Dave Vilwak built us a really nice propeller, and we've been running it all day. So hopefully it seems to run the best without the wing for straightaway speeds. And that's why I was able to climb up on Chip. It wasn't because of the handling in the rough water. It was because of the straightaway speed I was able to pull him. So hopefully we can do that in the final.
Dave Vilwak is known as a prop expert among the unlimited hydroplanes. He's heading to his boat. He's got a great prop on there. It's taken him to a couple wins. We'll be back in a moment. Here's a look at the Mission Bay course in San Diego, California, from inside the cockpit of Stephen David's Miss T Plus as he takes the course for the start of Heat 3B. And this is a good lineup and an important one for the Smokin' Joes.
He'll be in lane 2, Mark Tate will, to fight Dave Vilwak in lane 1 in Pico's American Dream. Filling out the field, the T Plus and the Miss X side. Here they come for the start, Dick.
Right off the bat, it's going to be the Pico's American Dream trying to line up to get a good run at that clock. And there's the start. Smokin' Joes has the lead as they go across the start line. We'll see what Dave Vilwak is going to do. Right now, they're going to be just about even Steven as they hit the turn. X-side on the far outside. The two boats on the inside now are separating from the pack with the T-Plus taking over third place. Smokin' Joe's momentarily in second place. Pico's American Dream now in the lead position. There's a great shot inside the X-side boat. That boat is trailing the pack in fourth position. Everybody else is off to the left. You're seeing the rooster tail off the T-Plus boat driven by Stephen David. There's a shot of your 2 leaders. Jim, they're tying it up, and I'll tell you what, it's anybody's race at this point.
Boy, I'll tell you right now, the Smokin' Joes with Mark Tate is pushing very hard on Dave Vilwak. Vilwak is going down. A big pop. I think he's blowing that engine sky high. He's pulling to the infield. Smokin' Joe, Mark Tate take over for a very important lead.
Well, that's a great disappointment to that American Dream team. That boat had been operating just beautifully, but Smokin' Joe's right now a very happy crew. Mark Tate is doing a great job of driving, and he was against the American Dream. Now he has got to beware because Stephen David is trying to move up on him. Stephen David has moved into second place to this boat. Stephen aboard the boat known as T Plus. The Smokin' Joe's is leading, and look at Stephen David closing down. This is one of these situations. 152 for the lead boat, 153 for the T+. I think Steve David saw himself come up into a good position, and he's decided to try to take advantage of it.
Both of these boats are right now on the ragged edge. And as you know, Dave Villwock at Beagle's American Dream being pressured the first lap and a half, exploded an engine. He's down and have to be towed back. As we look at our leader, Smokin' Joe being pressed by the T+ coming around to complete lap number 2.
Well, it's always chancy with these engines as we again look inside the X side. This boat now riding in 3rd position. That's a very good position for Mark Evans. The 2 lead boats are still battling it out, and as we're going to say, when you push these engines hard, you never know what's going to happen. They are going all out on it now, and this course has gotten a little... Whoa! Oh, Steve David literally going sideways in the water. It looked like part of his wing assembly may have come off. Steve David riding in 2nd place in the T+. He's getting the power back on the boat, but I think he lost his horizontal wing. It looks like it. It flew off when he hooked the boat in the water. Here comes your lead boat down from the checkered flag. Now uncontested, takes the flag. A good win for Mark Tate. He needed this win to get up into the points race again with the Miss Budweiser. 2nd place, and I'm sure very happy he'll take it any way he can get it, is Mark Evans. There you can see that structure of the wing on the back of the boat for the T+ real loose.
There's the order finish. Smokin' Joe's Miss X side, the T+, and the peak was American Dream. Well, they had their problems, did not finish, and you can see the look and the stance of the disgusted driver, Dave Villwock. Let's go down to Mark Tate.
Mark, the more you race, the better the boat ride gets.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, we've made some changes from the heat prior that we were in with Miss Budweiser. We were having some handling problems, and the handling problems went away there, but we were having a motor problem that heat. But we were fortunate enough that come away with a heat win, and we're going to take it. We're in the final, and we're pretty happy about that.
Steve Woomer, if you're going to have a bad heat, have it early in the morning and then get it out of the way.
Yeah, but it sure makes the owner nervous.
We'll be back to San Diego with our championship heat in a moment. In the pits here in San Diego, they are working feverishly on the American Dream boat. As you know, it probably blew an engine. Let's go down to the pits and Steve Montgomery.
Everything was going great, Dave, and then boom.
Yeah, it hit some wakes there, and the boat jumped in the air, and the motor oversped, and it went away, unfortunately.
Will this affect you in the final?
Well, of course it will. We had the inside lane there for a while, looks like, and we were pulling away from the Smokin' Joe's there in that heat, and we just had that problem, but that's what boat racing is all about.
But you can put the boat back together okay?
Oh, yeah. We'll put another motor in it, and off we'll go.
Well, as we look at the repairs there, we can tell you they're going to have to do some repair work also on the Miss T+. As you'll remember, she had wing damage when she hooked in the turn out there. Here are the cumulative points on the day. Miss Budweiser with 1,100, the Tide at 925, T+ engine treatment, 825. Smokin' Joe's way back at 700, so she's got a job to do to pick up. Let's go down to the Miss Budweiser pit.
Going into this event, you had only a 66-point lead. Breathing a little easier now?
Well, yeah, we are. It was tough, though, for Smokin' Joe's to have a throttle brake on them because they were running good. And I'm sure it would have been a real great race. Pardon me, as the last one was with the Tide. They're all running right up to speed. And I think the Tide had the fastest lap so far today at 158 something. I think we were 157 something. And so come the final heat, it's going to be a real good race.
As part of the big show here at Bayfair 94, 8 NAS boats take part in the Grand National Hydro Western Nationals. These are smaller hydroplanes. Look at how they go through the water there. That's the Papa John's Pizza boat, driven by Mark Weber out of Springfield, Ohio. The lead boat is Mike Mamano. He's out of New York State. The boat itself is out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, owned by Alan Vordermeyer, known as the Miss Blockbuster. I'll tell you, these are smaller boats, therefore they bounce around the water, but they've got plenty of power. They'll top upwards of around 150 miles an hour, so they've really got to be alert. Now watch closely, because something flies off the Papa Joe's in this shot right here. Did you see it? It flew off. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, he had to kill the engine, and that boat went dead in the water on the last lap in second place, challenging for the lead. Papa Joe's Mark Weber goes out of it. Here's Mike Mamano giving us the victory wave. He comes home a winner in the Miss Blockbuster. A happy guy, just the opposite for Mark Weber.
Here are the unlimited last chance results that puts Mitch Evans in the finale in the trailer position. Let's get out of the pits. Dick Crippen is with the winning driver, Mitch Evans.
All right, Mitch, I think the first thing I should point out to you was that in my memory last year, the trailer boat won.
Yeah, boy, just keep that thought. Let me tell you what. No, the boat's running great. We had a few problems earlier in the day, and it's really come around, so I'm looking forward to making up some ground in the final heat.
A few problems, but certainly not the saltwater problem a lot of the turbines face.
No, really. There's some in our electrical systems, but we're able to keep up on it. We've had just some other little stuff that's gone on during the day, but boy, it really feels strong, and it was a great ride out there today. Boy, the water's nice.
Mitch Evans driving the only piston packer in the fleet. The rest are turbines. He'll compete in the trailer position. As we look at the Tide, and we understand he has a Dave Billwalk prop. We know his engine is proven. Going into the finale, he could have an edge. We'll have that race. But ESPN Speed World continues.
San Diego getting ready for a great race here on Mission Bay as we come down to talk championships. The boats are heading out for the final heat of the day. There's the boat that'll be in the trailer position. That means he'll be starting 15 seconds off the lead.
It'll be Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser, driven by Chip Hanauer in lane 1, the favorite lane. The Tide with Nate Brown gets the second slot, while Steve David in the T-Plus engine treatment gets third. The Pico's American Dream is in fourth slot with Dave Billwalk, and in lane number 5, it's the Miss Exide, driven by Mark Evans. Meanwhile, the Pace boat in lane 6 on the outside will be Smokin' Joe's, driven by Mark Tate. 15 seconds back, the Spirit of Lake Chelan with Mitch Evans. He's the trailer boat as they come down for the winner-take-all final here in San Diego, California.
And it's a flying start. All the boats will have to line up. They'll take a look at it from the officials' tower and make the decision on the start. And there it is. They're off and running. It looks like it's going to be a very tight first turn as the boats come down into it. There's Stephen David in the T-Plus as he rides on the inside. Whoa, change that. He rides through the rooster tail. That is how rough it gets down in that first turn. It is very, very hard to hold your lane. As they come out, though, it looks like the inside boat, Miss Budweiser, has command of the field, but watch out. There's the blue boat. Vons presents the Pico's American Dream, has taken the lead. So Dave Billwalk has taken a lead. You'll remember, he blew an engine the last time out. They put another engine in the boat, put one of the big props on it, and off they go, and they are flying high.
And don't forget, this is not a 3-lap sprint. This is 5 full laps as the challenge comes in from the Budweiser on the inside once again. And Dave Billwalk flies a little loose there in the Pico's American Dream. But look at the inside. Holding tight is Chip Hanauer in the Budweiser. We got a battle. Oh, look at the Bud. Oh, he almost flipped that boat.
He really had to hold on to it. We've been talking all day about how he's been pinning the buoys, but he got himself almost in a little bit of trouble there. It brought the boat back down inside the Exide boat. Mark Evans is still battling. Look at how that wheel bounces around in his hands. He's got to hold on to it constantly.
I'm hearing something in this engine. The Exide is not running as smoothly as he could. He's trailing the field. Little compression stall. Listen to it.
You can hear it in there very clearly, so we'll watch out for the Miss Exide and see if anything develops on that boat. Meanwhile, the lead boat is again the American Dream. Now, you know one thing to bear in mind, when a boat like the American Dream is out in the lead and he's in the third lane, he has got to leave enough room on the inside for the Miss Budweiser until he gets at least 5 boat lengths ahead. And the reason for that is the rooster tail that comes off of these boats is equivalent to 7 tons of water. If another boat gets caught in that rooster tail on the right angle, the boat will actually ride the rooster tail just like the water.
Here comes the Smokin' Joe's. He's going to mount a challenge. He's been back there battling for 3rd and 4th, but he's coming out strong as we look inside. Once again, the T-Plus.
Stephen David in the Miss T-Plus is now riding in 5th place, getting a little bit of a smooth ride as he rides the backwash of one of the other boats, the wake created by the boat as he heads down into the turn. Still your leader is the American Dream.
He went by something, I think a piece of a tail, and look at the Budweiser has lost part of its tail. Dick, we saw it on the water from our aerial shot as our leader, Pico's American Dream, went by it.
So there's damage to the one strut on one side, and the other one is absolutely flapping in the wind. Nothing there. Look at the ride of the Miss Exide, up and riding on the very tips of the sponsons. It's a very dangerous way to ride that boat, but he held on to it. As a matter of fact, it must be roughening up out on the course because the American Dream had a little bit of a good bounce there also. So Dave Villwock, he says, I don't care if it gets rough. I'm going to hold on to this lead no matter what. This would be his second consecutive victory. And look at the damage to the tail of the Miss Budweiser.
It's just about going away as we look at the X-Side inside. Once again, you talk about rough water. First, whoa, the X-Side's going dead. The X-Side is going dead in the water.
Well, you heard that compression stall. Apparently it got too much. Something was wrong with the engine, so the Miss X-Side has gone dead in the water. You heard the engine quit while we were inside the cockpit of that boat. Here's Dave Villwock. He wins his second consecutive championship. Dave Villwock taking the championship on Mission Bay. Second place goes to Mark Tate in the Smokin' Joes. There's the Miss Budweiser, barely making it home in third. The tailpiece just about off on the back end of the boat. And the Miss X-Side. Mark Evans is standing on the boat, signaling he needs emergency help. The boat is on fire. Look at the flames coming out of the rear of the boat. The fire extinguishers within are on. Now it looks like the rescue crew, Eric Steelau, and the group is there. You can see the flames. You can see them extinguishing it. Oh, we hate to see that.
Here's the results of the final. American Dream wins his second consecutive race of 1994. Smokin' Joe second, Bud third, then followed by the Tide, T-Plus, Lake Chelan, and Miss X-Side.
And the celebration has already started down in the American Dream pit as Dave Villwock arrives home.
Here's the difference going into the Outrigger Hotel High Defense of Pearl Harbor next month. The race for the Eagle Snacks and Duels High Point Championship. The Bud leads by only 404 points over Smokin' Joe's.
David, that has to be one of the most remarkable performances by a driver and crew that we've ever seen.
These guys, they just keep coming back every time, you know. Fred Leland, Brian Piziak give me more power than God gives most people. Tom, who, you know, does most of the, you know, the work in between, and the rest of the crew who, you know, put together a boat that was ready to go. You know, lane 4 seems to be our lane here in Seattle, here in San Diego, and it came out good for us again.
Half an hour ago, it did not look good.
No, we were in a deep hole, but, you know, great teams come with great stuff when they need it, and that's what these guys did. They put all the stuff together, and they gave it to me and said, do the best you can, and that was the best we could do.
A lot of happiness for the American Dream team, nothing but disappointment for the X-Side team. They had that fire on board, and a lot of damage to the Miss Bud. They'll be working hard, but at least they still have 404 points in the lead.
Okay. You are further ahead now in national high points than you were this morning. That's good news.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing to us. However, with the many fans we have in San Diego, we surely would have liked to win here for them.
Well, they'll get a chance at another win when we come down to the final race of the season, which will be in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. That's where all the championships will be decided. That's it from San Diego. I'm Dick Crippen for Jim Hendrick and Steve Montgomery. Bayfair Unlimited Hydroplane Racing on Mission Bay has been sponsored by O'Doul's, what beer drinkers drink when they're not drinking beer. And by Eagle Snacks, for the crunch you crave. Accommodations for promotional consideration provided by the San Diego Princess, minutes from the airport on Mission Bay. A mile of white sandy beaches makes it a memorable stay at the San Diego Princess Resort. Unlimited Hydroplane Racing is sanctioned by the American Powerboat Association and is a production of Diamond P Sports in association with ESPN.